We hope you guys love action because tonight we will give you a lot from the FSL Wild Rift Showdown. We'll be your casters. I'm Yuko, alongside me is Contra.
Well, it's great to be able to cast alongside you, Yuko. It's been a while, and of course, we're gonna get some great action here in the FSL Wild Rift Showdown, presenting to you and featuring League of Legends Wild Rift. And all of this is presented by Intel and also supported by Yahoo. And you know what, Yuko? We're live from all platforms: Twitch, YouTube,
Mhm.
as well as Facebook, where you can catch us on FSL Mobile Games, or you could also tune in by visiting Yahoo Esports Southeast Asia. Make sure you drop them a follow as well as a like on their page so you can keep up to speed on all the latest happenings here. And you know what, Yuko? Today we're gonna get a whole lot of all these best of one action, and I just can't wait to see what the ladies can present to us for today.
Same. Yeah, and here's the thing. I of course we love our best of threes, best of fives, best of seven at some point, as long as it doesn't reach 7 games. But yeah, best of ones has a special place in my heart because it just shows how the teams will be able to perform under pressure. How can they just come back from a deficit? And if you guys are curious to see which teams will be fighting off for tonight, we will be showing you a graph later on. But again, we have five best of ones for you for tonight. And let's see, are we going to be seeing Ziggs pick up? Are we going to still be seeing Camille banned? The usual meta that we saw way back in our different tournaments. Also, we have a 3 ban system for the Wild Rift Showdown.
That's right, and I'm glad that you mentioned this because we've got the latest patch coming in, and I believe that all of our ladies should be adapting to the pace of the brand new meta being set in stone. We got Morgana as well as Kale being introduced, and also a revamped new look for the Dr. Mundo. And we've already seen on your screen all of your matches that will be happening. So we'll be jumping right in for our very first draft. And here we go. We've got BTR Cillax versus GS Yugen. As the bands go underway, we've already got 2 of all our champions already been locked away, and that is the Gallo as well as our Olaf. Pretty standard stuff that we're seeing here in the very first phase.
Yeah, very standard. Of course, you would want to ban out Galio because the taunts as well as the hero's entrance can be disruptive in your lineup or even you as your team in the positioning. And we're also seeing a Riven and an Olaf ban. Riven, yeah, I don't think she's gonna be seeing the light of day much tonight. And Corky, of course, GS Yugen would want to lessen that possible late game assurance, late game powerful marksman for BTR Chillax's pool. And the third ban for the women in blue will be Gragas don't want any cast making their way to their faces. And the last ban for the side of GS Yugen could possibly be a Ziggs or maybe Camille later on. I mean, if they do go through with that Ziggs ban, Camille will be open. I guess the other Enchanter supports will be open as well.
That's right, and now with the very first pick going over to BTR Chillax, I'm thinking about that Morgana if they're allowed to play it, but hey, guess what? We've still
Nice.
got Caitlyn that's pretty much up and available, so they'll be hoping to dominate that bottom lane. So, Polycaton, I hope I got the name right, we'll just go in for the safest possible pick on that marksman role.
I'm gonna say it, even though it's been weeks since Arcane actually finished. Really loved Caitlyn in that show, but yeah, she has one of the most damage in the late game, and her ultimate's range is scary. It's a problem. So BTR Cillax already has a late game assurance for the side of GS Yugen. I mentioned this earlier. Camille will be open. They picked that up. Could be used in the Baron lane or even in the jungle, and then they accompany that with the Rakan. Knockups, charm could be a good setup for maybe an Ezreal, a Kaisa, or a Lucian. I don't know. The usual long range marksman that you can see at the back lines.
Yeah, it's a beautiful draft coming in from GS Yugen, as you can already tell. They want to set up pickoffs, and with the Hackstep Ultimatum or even any good grand entrances coming from the Rakan, they could easily just pick somebody off and quickly get away with it. So the answer to that, they pick up the Diana, and BTR Chillax could also answer back with their very huge ultimate going into those team fights. So I'm looking at AE thinking of what could actually pair pretty well, especially when you've already got the support picked up. Perhaps a
Mm-hmm.
Nami would still be decent going down in the bottom lane so that they don't get it banned off,
Oh.
but they will secure the Ari to hit into the mid lane. That tells us that perhaps this Diana is going either the jungle or even the Baron lane.
I want to see Diana Jungle just because that's something we barely see in the scene. Yeah, I'm in it for the unorthodox picks. DS again hovers and picks up J4. Beautiful setup for their they as you mentioned, they do have a pick off composition. So now they're leaning bit more towards the full on 5v5. Good lock up from Camille, good lockdown from J4 as well. And when Nakan jumps in, it's the perfect opening for their mid laners and their ADC. I'm expecting a burst type mid laner. Ziggs got banned, so let's see how will that come through. And for the side of BTR, I love that they picked up Ari. Ari has one of the highest pick rate in the mid lane because she has quite the mobility, has a lot of burst as well, and those charms can really kill you.
Indeed, and now we're going into the second phase, and of course we're just going to be following with the tree band system being set in to the skill of our lobbies, since it's a competitive matchup, and we're pretty much used to the usual competitive setting. I believe that at least with a little bit more wiggle room, we'll be seeing other sort of picks that will be coming up, especially with a little bit of hover of a Jace coming from BTR
Mm-hmm.
Cillax, where you could still bully off the Camille in the early game. I can't really say the same once she actually hits her element, so it will be a little bit of a risk factor, especially when you have this Jarvans that's going to be pretty much at the ready to gank
True.
that solo lane.
Yeah, and he just really likes his lockdown or pinning down the opponent. So maybe the initiate or the gank potential from BTR could be a problem. But let's see if they can work around that. I'm still waiting for the possible ADC for GS Yugen side. But yeah, looks like they're keeping it a secret. They want to surprise us with the last pick. So yeah, the possible ADCs I mentioned earlier, you have Lucian, Kaisa, Ezreal, the usual. And I actually want to see if me will be locking down this Jace.
Yeah, and I guess we still have to wait until is the Oriana now being locked in for GS Yugen. You got perfect ball delivery system to set up that shockwave, and therefore GS Yugen say that this is possibly the safest pick that they could go for, while Renekton has been opened up for the longest time, but they're still thinking twice. Okay, Days or the Renekton. I think either or is going to be fine. But
Mhm.
heading to the late game, I would prefer the Renekton. But when they want to look for crowd control services, they have to rely back on trusty Leona. So this is going to be a high kill threat coming out of the bomb lane of BTR Chillax.
I can't believe I forgot to mention Saya when Rakan was picked in the first rotation red side. So with Rakan logged in, looks like Jis Yugen will be hovering and locking in this side. We have lovebirds down at the Dragon Lane side. So not only is this a protect the ADC, but it's also a challenge for BTR. They have a lot of AoE CCs to come through, at least surpass before they can even go to where Saya is. And even then, Saya still has the Feather Storm to jump out rather of these sticky situations.
Indeed, and now looking at both ends of the spectrum, I felt that there's different things that BTR Chillax hope to accomplish. They want to actually get some really high priority on that bottom lane. So you expect this Diana to set things up perfectly, especially when Zaya in that early level of a stage, she won't be able to offer too much, having to rely back on the Rakan. Well,
Mhm.
if you hit that late game stage, just Yugen's gonna dominate. You look at that power spike, they could basically divide and conquer. And speaking of divide and conquer, you could do so with the 12 gen Intel core. It divides, so you can conquer. And you know what, Yuko? I believe we're ready to kickstart our very first match here for today. And, well, for those of you guys back at home, drop in your predictions down below. Who's going to be able to walk away with a huge victory in our very first matchup in this best of one?
I actually checked the live stream on Facebook. Team Secret Azar was watching. Yeah. Hello, Azar. Welcome to the stream. Not sure why you're there, but do not forget to share the live, everyone, to those who are watching. And to the others who are watching on Twitch, on YouTube, please do not forget to invite your friends to watch as well. Also, shout outs to my buddy Autolus, which is also a Wild Rift caster. He is just playing and hoping he can reach the master rank this time around. You know, we all have our wishes and wants for Christmas. But yeah, again, this will be just a best of one. Draft wise, I think it's pretty even, and I would love to see the which team will be able to just play around their draft more.
I'm glad that you've managed to notice who actually drops by into the stream. So I guess it gives them a little bit of motivation when Senpai's literally watching in the chat. So, of course, hope you guys are chilling pretty tight there throughout the evening. If you haven't got your dinner just about yet, sit back, relax, and probably order your food online and just enjoy the show. So, for our very first matchup, we take a look at that draft that have already been secured by both ends. And I just think that GS Yugen, they just have so much advantages if they want to initiate any battles, as they have so many form of good crowd control. On top of that, it could be either Rakan or even the Camille to actually start a fight where you could just save that Cataclysm for an important target that they want to move in with. And I'm glad that we moved directly to the Rift here with a very standard strat. And
Ooh, that was actually, yeah, that was a good stun coming through from Cillax, but you have Rakan with the knockup, good save. I don't think both teams will be committing as much given that it is still the early game. That will be the Rift's got a secured and it'll be the Flying Jack coming through. He does get charmed and that will be a tad bit too much for him to bear. They're trying to flash out. It looks like Princess is still able to get away, but the damage coming out from Diana was also too much for her to bear. That is an early game double kill going over to Diane, and it seems like BTR Cillax was able to get it 2-0 from the early game.
that was a beautiful setup, and felt like yes, Yugen kind of jumped the gun just to secure the Skull of Crab. Is it really worth it for just the crab? I don't really think so. But then again, when you take a look at what's happening up here, it's going to be the Skull secured pretty much easily by BTR. With Yugen not going for the rate buff immediately as he clears out some wards, as we will hope to see AE just giving a little bit more pressure onto that Orianna, and I think that is the ticket to go for them to get some good leads.
Actually, yes. We did see that in the early game, Oriana did struggle there a bit. Of course, we talked about this mobility, the early game damage, and the charm coming out from Ari can be very difficult, or can be difficult rather to deal with, especially if you're an Oriana that is not yet set on level 5, but now she does have her chakra available. So maybe you're gonna be seeing more 1v1s later on, but that will be the dash in and the charm. You have the orb coming out as well. Apparently, she was not able to use her ignite, and Oriana still gets to see the light of day.
Well, even with the Ignite, I don't think it's going to be enough to drop in it from the get-go. You take a look at how much health bar she has, and also considering the fact that she could easily shield herself to negate a little bit more. It's not too worth it, but Polycaton probably thinking that, hey, I want to at least show you what I can offer. Here comes Hectic Ultimatum, dropping in.
That will be the Flag and Jack, and then the Cataclysm. I kind of feel bad for the Jace here because he just ate 2 major ultimates, and he will be paying with that for his life. And it will be the first kill going over to GS Yugen. 13 seconds before the first Drake and the first crowd will spawn. Looks like BTR will have a bit of a leeway because they will be able to have first dibs on the Drake area. Let's see if GS Yugen will go with the trade, or are they gonna try and contest?
Spotted by a ward, AE walking down the river. But then again, speaking of wards, I guess early on we saw a little bit of overextension that costed Jay's life, but a very quick work from GS Yugen to secure the Rift Herald as they trade out on the Cloud Drake. I guess all's fair in love and war, and I don't expect too much of a goal lead from either side, but Yugen's only got a slightly bit more with 400 gold, which isn't all too substantial for now. And look at that! Quickly dropping that Rift Herald up top, forcing BTR Cillax to respond.
Yeah, we get the Herald, we trade a turret immediately. They knew that GS Yugen is, rather BTR is in a different part of the map, so this pretty much gives them a bit of a leeway, but there won't be any leeway for Ariana because she ate that moonfall and the kill went over to Ari. Yugen trying her best to throw out some feathers, but she ate some damage as well. With that, it will be space created and BTR Cillax will be able to hold their ground at the Dragon Lane side right on cue. Camille was able to pick up her Triforce 5 minutes in.
Wow, well, that's pretty quick if you ask me. Even the Gargoyle Enchantment coming up for Cillax. Well, they make quick work for a turret trade, although it's slightly slow to get their dips onto the first turret to be secured, and therefore you can still with the lead. But oh, solo
Ooh.
kill up top.
Someone let this Camille calm down. Like I thought the C was for calm down, but no, she is really going ham on the Brian Lane side. I have to remind you, that is a Jace, and Jace does not have the damage in the early game, and it's very crucial for me to be able to snowball and get all those tankiness, those damage in by the mid game, but no, Camille does not want any of that. And it is a 2-0 in favor of DS Yugen at the Baron lane side. But looking at the mid lane, the Dragon laners made their way up one lane. And it looks like no one's actually fully committing. But there are pings going down on the Dragon lane side. It looks like Princess tried to catch Ari off guard. But Ari, with the sufficient wave clear that she has, was able to stay alive.
Well, if we turn back to the first few minutes, and well, I'll hold that thought to that because we have a fight going down.
What is analysis? You have the Cataclysm and then the moonfall coming to Diana. It's the first one taken by Charm. Are going to connect onto one, but that will be at the back lane side. No fallout from BTR. It will be a 1-0 in favor of GS Yugen. And it all started because their opponents just tried to steal their buff. You cannot get my buff.
Yeah, I felt like they were overzealous. They don't really have full setup of vision to control, and now here comes the dive as they are looking to get that knockup onto Aya with even the accident ultimatum. They'll be able to take him down easily. But with Dom coming in, me will get one, but will be traded for Isaiah a little bit late as well as they will jump in. Better Storm for being caught, but he will not be able to survive. Well, Lawless not too deep into the turret range, so I guess BTR even the odds.
Actually, it's kind of difficult to try and run away from a Camille with the Hulk shot and tactical sweep. And what happened there was she just said, okay, I don't want to give my EXP and other gold to the opponent. Might as well give it to someone already took down. That's why she went back into the turret, but that will be a turret dive for the side of BTR. Knockup from Akan. Ari trying to flash out, and that will be a killing spree going over to Princess. First champion down in that skirmish. No follow-up at the very least. It will be 6-6 on the scoreboard with a 2k goal lead in favor of GS Yugen.
Not gonna lie, that looked like a little bit of an air ram where they dove in just with the touch of a few minutes, but they don't really have all too much to work with. Here comes a little blast, but Yugen should be able to make a quick work out of the way as she will be able to jump back into the range of the Xayah. Now we got both the Drake as well as the Herald being spawned up in a few seconds here. We got Static Shiv completed for Aya. Gonna be able to offer more of the DPS in those battles, and Millie having the quick shot out of the way. They're just gonna play a little bit more defensively until they find an opening here by the river. But look at mid though.
Looks like that is the opening, but of course the Prince Charming saved the day. He was able to just swoop in and save Yugen's life. There will not be any kills at the mid lane, which is the green light for GS Yugen to make their way down at the Dragon Pit and try to get their hands on this Infernal Dragon. Of course, Cillax will try to go with the Gunter with the Cataclysm coming through, and Princess does get charmed, but apparently the first charmer is the one that got bursted down. Camille gets a kill on Diana. Ari is on the back line, being able to get all the kills in her pocket. Beautiful shotgun coming through, but looks like it will still be a double kill going over to Ari, and Caitlyn gets one kill as well. A shot down on J4. That was a 5-2 in favor of BTR and one mid lane turret to beat.
Wow, that could have actually been cleaner, but I like how it ended up. BTR Cillax having AE to jump right in, and she matched the Moonfall on top of 3 members to dispositioned majority of the members of GS Yugen on that past team fight. Though they managed to win that fight, they only got one turret out of it, and ideally, you want to also get that Infernal Drake. But oh, another pickup going in, and I'm not too sure if you want to step too deep in the jungle.
Yep, that will be knockup airborne, and still it will be the kites connecting. The roots is gonna come down. It's gonna be a beautiful ultimate coming out from Leona, and Rakan will be able to flash to the side, flash his way into safety. No casualties just yet, but BTR, it looks like they're scaling pretty well. I mean, Ari was in a good position. They were able to get an ace earlier on, and Aya is pretty much well protected. Cillax as well as me, they are doing really well being the frontliners.
Indeed, and you just look at the range advantage that BTR Cillax has with Aya in just going in for those long-range taps, and you have Poli Katan, who could easily trump anybody at the forefront. So it makes it a little bit difficult for GS Yugen, especially with this death ball setup from BTR, and now they're hoping to also get their hands on the second Rip Herald, but there will be a little bit of interference here with that.
Ari gets that referral. There will be a knockup connected on the two, as well as the quickness. First kill going over to GS Yugen. Beautiful moonfall, as well as the shockwave. And it looks like BTR will go with the re-engage. It will be a 2 for 2 so far. But looks like GS Yugen, they still want to get all those kills. But this kill shot coming out from Jace was just a problem. So they decided to just back away.
You just look at that blast ticking off the health bars, and just Yugen immediately said, okay, nope, we're not challenging that Jace. We're just gonna hold back. We lost that arrow like minutes back. So we take a look at both ends of the things that they really want to achieve. I guess GS Yugen were only a few steps away, and they gave a little bit more priority to Bigatron to take over the pit. So they can only possibly take a life or two, and BTR now having to go on a reset. As much as they may not have this huge control over the map, they can still have a little bit more leeway to shove up top, and it's going to be a 2 versus 1. I don't think it's wise for Minute to stay underneath.
Looks like she still tried to overstay her welcome, and that will be the punishment. That's hello? Where did that come from? One shot, one kill apparently from Aya, and that will be the Oriana falling down to the hands of BTR, as well as the last outer Baron lane turret. They still have their herald up. I'm still looking where will GS Yugen try to go with the trade, but apparently they are struggling as well. Charms coming through. Will the damage be enough? Mulvo has been committed as well. That will be an unstoppable Ari, and Yugen still at the back line, but it will be a 4-2. Camille tried to hold out, but she paid for that with her life, and BTR Cillax will be able to get away with snaps on their face. But then here is Jfar with the cleanup, orb being thrown out. He gets that double kill, gets a kill onto Diana. Aya trying to flash away, but it looks like GS Yugen with a tanky frontliner, they were able to hold out for Tila.
Wow, I love the response coming in from Princess, and you saw they were hoping to come in with a split push of their own from the backdoor from the bottom lane, but it's not going to be working well when you have the Jace guarding in. But instead, she took the road less travel, and she managed to find 2 takeoffs just in the blink of an eye. For me, hoping to get something right here as they are being chased by the Basan couple. Shockwave dropped in.
Shockwave is gonna jump in, but then here comes Camille for the flank. It will be the stage is being popped, and Aya says goodbye. The pass has been proud as well. She wants to look for me, but this Jace was able to run his way into safety. That is gonna be a jump in and on Moonfall. Saya does get bursted down. She gets fried in the mid lane like fried chicken, but 13 minutes in, it will be 17 to 14. BTR still has that lead, as well as the lead when it comes to her takedowns. So now, what do you think are the things GS Yugen should do to, come back from this best of one?
Well, all they have to do is just stall the game and hoping that Lawless can actually find a few good takeoffs. And in this fight, it's going to look a little bit dicey here. Princess jumped right back in.
She is gonna jump in, and then it will be the shockwave connecting onto two. That 3v3 resulted to no one dying, but a lot of ultimates and skills are now on cooldown, and BTR just made their way into the Dragon Pit yet again. Princess pretty low, however, she still does have her GA, so maybe that's a bit of leeway if ever they would want to contest, but no, no contestation, space created, and Cillax will be able to get their hands on yet another Dragon Ball.
I love how coordinated the attacks were as BTR. They like to flush it out, burn some flashes, and make damn sure that every utility has been expended before they go in for those huge objectives. Now, there is a killing spree down bottom though, as we have a 1-for-1 trade, I hope. And Aya moves in, challenging on this 1 versus 1, and that hoot shot, though it did connect, the damage was not good enough to bring down Aya.
Yeah, if you have knives, if you have that hextech stuff, it won't do anything when Caitlyn just points her gun at you. That will be the outplay or 1v1 in favor of Aya, but that was very very close. I mean, if Camille was just able to hook shot her way back and give the stun or at least stun Aya a bit, could have been in her favor. I was about to say that in the 12 or 13-minute mark, GS Yugen did not have any vision in the Baron Pit. But now, looking at the ward placements, yeah, they can see pretty well in the Baron Pit now. They also have one ward in that Death Brush at the mid lane. Cillax still looking for their next possible target. You have Leona at the front line. They're gonna try to go with a surprise kill, and that will be the sun connecting for the storm being popped by this Saya. Here comes Ari. Good positioning. It will be the Rakan and saying goodbye. Jace jumping in with a teleport, but that is going to be Leona say goodbye as well. Caitlyn was able to get that kill onto Saya. Stake is being popped, but it looks like Camille will also fall down. It will be a double kill going over to Caitlyn. Make that a killing spree. 21 and 16. It is a 3-1 in favor of BTR Silla.
Yeah, and I felt that GS could actually play that one out better. You mentioned about how well they've been able to light up the map. They should have actually seen this rotation coming from BTR, and you just see the majority of them just getting cut up. Though they were going on for chase, those trades always go in the favor of BTR. Now look at the Baron's health bar dropping very quickly. They're going to be still coming from Princess. The spike did not go true, and that will be Princess given off for that attempt.
That was close enough. I really thought she'll be able to steal that, but it was a nice try from Princess. But now it is gonna be a 4-5 matchup, and BTR Cillax, they are making their way into the Baron lane and the mid lane. Yugen has very good wave here. You also have Camille jumping in with a Hexing ultimatum, but he ate a lot of AoE CC. Here comes A. That is gonna be the Moonfall being committed. Yugen gets caught up. So much damage coming through. He does pop that status, but they forgot the Nexus, and that will be the game going over to BTR Cillax. I thought there was going to be a fight, but they're very sneaky on that Nexus takedown.
Well, that's a great attempt at a team fight, but they forgot to even check the Nexus when the Baron buff was intact. And you saw me just went directly into the Nexus to directly take off all the bars. And we look at that final few fight, and BTR was dominating in all front. Kudos to BTR Cillax. They've been able to navigate their way, and you just take a look at that death ball that they set up, and you have so many ways possible to just lock somebody down, even though majority of the members of GS Yugen had this ideal dive composition. They haven't been able to unify that in majority of the team fights.
I have to agree. It feels like it was just a communications problem because individually they're very strong. You actually see all the small outplays Yugen did. Camille was very powerful in the early game as well. You also have Princess with those good cataclysms, flag and jags. It just so happened that when it comes to the macro play, BTR Cillax was really ahead. But what a way to start the night, am I right? We have really
Indeed.
talented ladies playing Wild Rift in the Wild Rift Showdown for FSL. And yeah, we are gonna hop into a very, very short break. But when we come back, we will be greeted with another best of one.